Did you know that math is racist?
Everyone knows that, Dave.
That is topic number one. And if you didn't know, well, now you do. We got a story here from informedamerican.com. Mathematical Association of America declares math is racist. So it's not just some random woke professor or something like that. This is from the Mathematical Society of America. And they wrote a letter here, and I'll just give a quote here before we get into the letter. This one it says, "It's time for all members of our profession to acknowledge that mathematics is created by humans and therefore inherently carries human biases. Until this occurs, our community and our students cannot reach full potential. Reaching this potential, mathematics relies on the academy and higher education to engage in critical, challenging, sometimes uncomfortable conversations about the detrimental effects of race and racism in our community. The time is now to move mathematics and education forward in pursuit of justice." Now, you could find this letter at mathvalues.org. And what are your first impressions of first that quote, and then let's get into the letter.
Math is so math is what we really need to be going after.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Not police brutality, not systemic racism, not income inequalities, but math. That's the fucking that's the enemy number one.
Well, how about this idea? So I think there's two ways that you can go on this. I want to talk about this opening sentence here. It's time for all of our members of our profession to acknowledge that mathematics is created by humans and therefore inherently carries human biases. So the logic string there is if I could say, I think that let's call the definition of racism fluid. Would you agree with that?
I don't even know what you mean by saying the definition is fluid.
Well, what some people would call maybe traditional understandings of racism, let's put it that way, versus something that might be a somewhat expanded definition, because this seems to be an expanded definition to me, which means because there's a bias, because if you create something, you're a human being, you're flawed, and you have a bias, therefore everything you create have a bias. Okay. And a bias means racism. I mean, and that's the logical connection here, right? So because math is created by people and people have biases, therefore math must be biased.
So math was created by people are racist, math is racist.
Exactly.
But okay, yeah, I pulled a quote for this article by Galileo that said mathematics is the language in which God has written the universe. So technically God wrote math and not people. So, don't quote me, that's Galileo. But okay, they say people have said that math is the universal language.
Yeah.
It's the only language that's the same no matter what you speak. Like even alien, math is even the same for fucking extraterrestrial life. You know what I mean? 2 + 2 always equals 4 in every single language.
Yeah. So mathematics. Well, I guess maybe the practice of mathematics, I guess you could say, was created by humans because we systematized it and gave it names. But what you're saying is, math in itself, numbers, is not something that humans came up with. It's something that already existed before we discovered it, right?
Yeah, so you can sit there and say that maybe institutions that teach math, or there are people that created algorithms from math, right? That might have created systemic racism and biases, but math itself, to say man created math, so math is inherently racist. That's going a little bit too far.
Let me pose a question. This pen was created by humans, and humans all have biases. This dog poop bag was created by humans. Humans have biases. This remote control for my fan was also created by people. People have inherent biases. Zach, are these 3 items racist?
You're damn right.
You're damn right there.
Yeah.
So I guess that's the end result, right? If it was created by people have biases, therefore those things must be racist. Yeah. I think so. Everything is racist.
No, and the thing of math, I felt like I was back in college when we talked about this article. I felt like I was going back doing a fucking report on archaeology or some bullshit, because you go back to see the first evidence of math, and it I think it was 70,000 BC was the first evidence of math being used. And it was came from the part of the world of the cradle of civilization. You know what I mean? It's not math is something that white people invented. So even if people did invent math, that came from the North Africa and like the Middle East. You know what I mean? That was like the earliest place they found it or whatever. So it's not even like this is something that like the white man created.
So can we blame, say, maybe like the ancient Mesopotamians or something like that? Maybe it's all their fault.
Yeah.
This is, I really expect better from from a mathematical institute. It is interesting because I love this letter. It's basically a rant against President Trump. Which is the majority of the substance of this. And I love how this. I love this sentence. Policy must be informed by facts and science. And then much later, math is racist.
Yeah.
I don't think you're following your own advice here, but it basically goes on all the ways President Trump is bad. Therefore, this is our conclusion. I mean, this is a little. It's fascinating the anger that Trump can garner to come up with something that can cause people to be so stupid. Is kind of my point.
Oh yeah. My whole thing is just like sure, systemic racism is a real thing. We need to fix biases that hurt our minorities, but like, don't use your platform just to rant. Like math isn't the enemy. Maybe let's start fixing things that we need to be fixed right now, like police brutality and income inequality, and then but like math, like, come on, man, that's going a little too far.
Well, I don't know about you. Were you good at math in school, or was it?
No, I was fucking terrible in math in school.
Yeah, I wasn't very good either, which is why I talk.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not very good at that either. But no, it wasn't for me. Math didn't come easy, except for whatever reason. When I was in college, I took some statistical courses, and it made sense to me. But like algebra, I was terrible at algebra. And all that stuff. And it's something you kind of have to work at. I think you can have, it's like most things, you can have some level of innate ability. And then two, you really kind of have to pay attention, do your homework and put some time in, right?
Yeah.
So how is that? But I'm saying that's just a human challenge to learn and to figure things out. I don't see, I guess that's what I'm saying, is that it calls the pen. It calls the pen racist by this logic. So I don't know. I don't know if this is helpful at all.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what we're hoping they can change about math to make it less racist.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I was going. So say, minority communities, if I don't know, how they do in math, but let's just assume, since they're saying this, maybe let's just assume that some minority communities struggle in math. Well, I mean, just calling it racist doesn't help. You want the kids to get better grades, right? So let's instead focus on what we can do to help the kids get better grades.
Yeah.
Not just writing this anti-Trump letter. Do you think this is going to go anywhere? Or is this just a weird announcement to seem woke or something?
I think exactly. I think it's just everyone wants to hold their banner to say, look, we already said that what we do is racist, so we're not part of the problem. Everyone wants to have their flag to say don't look at me, I'm not racist. You know what I mean?
So maybe this will just pass. This is it'd be curious. I don't know how you change. Okay, so let's say I think one of the arguments for maybe the SAT was it might be culturally biased or something like that. How do you get the bias out of math? Numbers.